Hello, we're doing another Steam game in alphabetical order, so if you press enter, you'll come up with 200,652 games. Just press name to put them in all alphabetical order, and then click off English, and that will give you 210,704 games. They're not all games, some of them are DLC, etc. Like that's the same game. The list seems to be broken as games keep appearing up the top, which makes my job a lot more harder. We're trying to get to the All Waters Steam stuff on Steam bundle before the end of the year, so we've got 9 games to go through, and one of them is Rushuzen, which was released this year by a developer who calls himself Haks, who is Swedish. This is an RPG. It's completely free on game. It says it's a demo, but in all truthfulness, there's enough here that it's probably more likely a full game. So with Rushuzen, you're given a portal and you're given tutorial and normal. Once you've gone through normal, you'll unlock a harder difficulty. Once you've gone through that, you'll unlock brutal. Once you've gone through that, you'll unlock merciless. So all of those difficulty levels are completely free. You're showing, I'm not sure what Rushuzen means. I'm guessing that's a world that you portal into and that you have to save from a demon. You're given 6 different characters that you can access, and the lands mainly change what enemies you'll come across. Like in forests, you'll come across spiders and bears and witches and things like that. On the glades, you'll come across other things. In the top middle, you'll see what I'll come across in a round. So I'm currently on Valmer, who's my character. So from there, I go to a chest, and then I've got combat, enemy, combat, boss, and so forth, and that's just round 1 sort of thing. So in the forest, you'll come across rats, bears, things like that. Once you've done a combat, you'll get loot and you'll just add them. Runes will upgrade your ammo. Runes will upgrade your weapons and your defenses, uniforms, things like that, cloaks, tunics. They'll go from normal to magic to rare to, I forgot what the last category is. And whatever you do, just put it into your inventory or you'll lose it. And now I'm against the spider, just click that out, so forth. On the top left, you'll see I've got 10 hearts. So if you lose a combat, you'll lose 3 of those hearts. So I can only lose 3 combats in a total of 5 tiers. And as I said, we're only on tier 1, where we got to go through all these things. Now each level will probably take you about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Since all the levels are pretty much the same thing, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So I get to add a character. I'm going to add Reaver. Alright, now we're fast forward. We're on Merciless difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty. We're on Forest tier 5. I've now on a chest. So I've got chest, combat, boss, or mini boss, chest, and then the big demon boss. So as you can see, I've got a coalition here. I've got 5 different characters. You can see the enemies are a lot more dangerous. Now you'll have to destroy, since I've got a lot of melee can only destroy the front of the 2 tiers of enemies. So the bottom 2 tiers will be you, and the top 2 tiers are your enemies. What else can I say there? If you ever get stuck, there's a book icon on the top right hand side. You can click that, and that has everything in it that you will need to know. So as you can see, I'm going through the enemies. I haven't lost a life yet, and voila. So once you've gained enough XP, you get to add a buff to some of your characters. Buffs can also be added to your weapons. So something like, let's say, a tier 5 sword, which you would get in a tier 5 forest, would be higher and have better stats than a tier 4 sword. You can meld them together, your stats will carry across. What else can be said about this? There's two things that I do like about this. So one thing I think could have been improved. So as I said, the landscapes that you travel through, they look all pretty much the same. There's no difference between landscape of a forest and landscape of a glade, just less trees. But I thought a lot more backgrounds could have been added. So as a forest tier 1 should have, or a forest tier 5 should have a lot more tree vegetation than a forest tier 1, showing progression on that scale. I like the fact that there's various enemies that can only be that you can only encounter. That includes the mini bosses in the different scenarios. But you'll always, in every scenario, the last boss is always a demon. I thought you could come across the demon in a background that correlates to one of the 6 characters, such as the village of the hunter, the caves of the wizard or whatever it is, the castle of Avantgarde, and that would make sense as to why there's a coalition happening where you're all joining up to defeat the demons that have taken over Rushuzen. There's also a lesson of sacrifice here. So the strategy of the game is basically you've got to keep count on what characters have certain buffs. So some of your characters might have double strike. Those characters you want to basically tank with health and attack. Other characters might have a buff where if they die, their allies get added more statistics, like a 40 plus attack. So with those characters, you want to have them low so that they get sacrificed quickly. So with that in mind, one of your characters might end up with, let's say, 80 attack instead of just the normal 18 or 20, and they might have 60 or 80 health, meaning they're very hard to destroy. There's certain buffs where even if they attack, they give health to other allies or other attack to other allies. You want to keep track on all that. Quick strike, I believe, just means you have the first strike. Life steal, you're stealing life from the enemies. Shroud and ward, it's all in the top right hand book to explain what's going on. Now the developer is Swedish. I believe he's quite young. I haven't identified him. I am implanted in his social circle. I just don't know which one he is. I believe this is a new game. He did put it on itch.io, but he's deleted all his stuff on itch.io. Hasn't replied to me, and he hasn't updated since October, which isn't that far away, really. Now, as you can see, I need to take 257 health off this guy. I'm not going to make it in time, so I'm probably going to die in a combat here, which means I lose 3 hearts. We'll see how we go, but I have a funny feeling I might die here on turn 4. Yeah, he's got 92 attack now, so he's going to take me out. I can't do anything about it. Boom, done. So I've lost. What happens? I lose 7 hearts, and all my characters reappear and I get to combat again. Okay, so now I was able to take him out quite easily. And I believe the next one, that was the mini boss, so the next one is just a chest, and then I have the last character, the demon, to take care of, and that should be it for the game. So as I said, it is the complete game. It's just more or less the same thing over and over again. Each difficulty round will take about 30 to 45 minutes to pass. This developer is a big fan of RPGs. He follows a lot of RPG developers, and I guess he just wanted to make one himself. I'm not sure if the art is his own or if it's borrowed. I did ask, but he hasn't replied. So when you've got the central boss and his offsiders, mainly just concentrate on the central boss and just whittle the numbers down. The only exception to that is if you have a ally that needs to kill something in order to pass their buffs onto their allies, then you would strike one of the imps, and that would then pass all the buffs and to your allies. But majority speaking, as you can see, and that's it. We've done the game. And you're taking down, it's shown a picture of a different type of portal. So does that mean we're going to another world? Don't know. Also, the game doesn't explain what the runes actually mean. But that's it. That's Rushuzen. No music in the game. It's only on the Steam store page. It is free. Check it out yourself if you want. It's a nice introduction to RPGs. I guess until next time, 8 more games to go. Until then, bye for now.